Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm recording it. Okay, so on Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, around 10 lines down from the top. So we were discussing that according to Rabbi Yehuda, the sukkah has to be made out of the daled minim, and that's it. Right? So the Gemara asks, "Me and Rabbi Yehuda arba minim in bidi achridi loy." Does Rabbi Yehuda hold that you can only do with 4 minim and nothing else? Batanya sichcha ben esorim shel erez sheyesh ben daled tfachim. If you make schach with wood boards made out of cedar that have 4 tfachim, right? This is going back around 15 blot ago. Everybody holds that it's possible. Ain't no daled tfachim, but if there's no daled tfachim in the boards, meaning if you have a board on your sukkah that's more than 4 tfachim, then according to everybody it's awesome, right? But if it's ain't ben daled tfachim, doesn't have 4 tfachim, then Rameir Paisa reviewed the Masha. Umayda Rameir Shem Yesh Bein Nesser L'Nesser Kamalai Nesser, that if in between each board there's the width, the same width, meaning if let's say it's 3.5 tfachim of one board and 3.5 tfachim of schach and 3.5 tfachim of another board, then it's going to be kosher. Shemaniyah Psal B'nei Enok Sher, then you're going to put sal between it and it's kosher. So whatever it is, you see that Rabbi Yehuda holds that you're allowed to use erez as schach. Erez is not one of the 4 minim. 4 minim is hadasim, aravas, lulav, and esrog, not erez. And you see clearly that he allows erez. So when it answers my erez hadas, erez is hadas. There's 10 types of erez. Shenemar etain bamidbar erez shita v'hadas. Right, you put into the midbar erez shita hadas. So you see that hadas is considered erez. So therefore, erez is considered part of hadas, and therefore it's one of the 4 minim. So the mayor says you could even use a string to tie together the daled minim. I don't know why the Gemara repeats this. Right, it's a Bracha, but it's the same thing as the Mishna. Right, that they tied up their lulavs with kimania shazav. There's no proof from there that they used gold. They would tie it under the bottom with regular lulav or hadasim or whatever it is they use, and then they would put the gold on top of it. So he said to the Begadle Hashanas of Beresh Galusa, Kigadliso Hashana de Beresh Galusa, when you put together, it's an interesting lashon that the Gemara says Kigadliso, right? Can I ice it? Yeah, it was only back that we had in the house. Hey, back up. Bad. I see he hits his back when he throws to me. Okay, so now what? Can you hear me now? You can't. Looking at the ball? Ball. Woo! All right, I got it. Very good. I feel like I'm underwater. But you have to look forward. Hold on, let me get a different. You went on a jet ski? Oh. In Florida? You go swimming? Yeah, you know what? If I would have gone to this house, the internet stopped working. If I would have gone to this house, then I would have had internet over there. You hear me now, or it's not? Okay, let's saying this one on. Fine, okay, I really apologize. So he said to those that are Megadle, I guess let me start back from the 2 dots. So even with Mashicha, right, meaning not pulling, but meaning you could even use a rope to tie up the lulav hadas and arava. So Tanya Omer Rameir, Ma'aseh b'Yakir Yerushalayim. There was a Ma'aseh with the Chashuvim Yerushalayim. Shayu Oigden es Lulav v'Gemani Shalzav. They would tie up their lulavim with gold, and on the lie, that's not a raya, because gold is not part of the 4 minim. They would tie it with lulav on the bottom, and then they would put gold on top of it. Rabba said to those that would grow, literally means that would grow, the hashanas of the Beresh Galusa, Rabba said to those that would put together the Ishanas, meaning the Lulavim, put it together with hadasim and Rabbas of the Beis Hillel, at least the Ishana, the Beis Hillel, when you're putting them together, leave over a handle, meaning leave out the bottom of the Lulav to be able to hold it. So it won't be a chatzitza. Meaning they're going according to the shitas that say you don't need to tie up the Lulav and esrog. So if you're going to tie it up and you're going to hold it by that wherever it is that you tied it, so then it's going to be a chatzitza between your hand and the Lulav. So therefore they said make sure you leave a little bit of Lulav on the bottom, so that you'll be able to actually hold your hand, will be able to touch the lulav. Rabba Amar, it's not a problem. Even according to the Shita holds that the lulav and the hadas don't have to be tied. It's still not a problem because the reason why you're tying it is to make it look more beautiful. If it's there to look more beautiful, then that's not a separation between your hand and anything else. Amar Rabba, a person should not hold on to the hashanas. He should not put a glove on or a scarf or anything like that to be in a lakicha tama, because you need a complete lakicha, and you're not going to have that because you're going to have something separating your hand from the lulav and esrog, and that's where the minig comes from. Not minig, but that's where many Mishna says that you're not supposed to have rings on when you do when you shake the lulav and esrog, right? Because it's going to be a chatzitza, but I don't think people are too makar on that. Whoever disagrees and he says taking it on through something else is considered a lakicha. So how do I know that you're allowed to take it and it's not considered a separation? Right? So the taking it to something else is considered lakicha. It's not esav. If you have an esav, so an esav is the hyssop, whatever hyssop is, and you take that and you dip it into the ashes, and you take those ashes and you sprinkle it on and put it into water, and then you sprinkle it onto the person who's tummy mace. So let's say the hyssop got too short and you're not able to stick it down into the water with the ashes. So what do? So you either extended it with some sort of string or a kush with some sort of piece of metal, and then you dip it into the water and you bring it up, and then you hold onto the actual ezav, not onto the extension. And you sprinkle it in. Right? So the Torah says you have to take it and toivel it, which means you have to be able to take it and toivel it with your hand itself. And here you're not toiveling it with your hand with the ezav. I'm sorry, no, you don't do it with your hand, you do it with the ezav. And you're not doing it with the ezav, you extended it. So we see from this that taking it through something else is considered a lakicha, and that's enough. Since it's attached, it's considered like the actual goof. Now we learn that from here. So then the next step, what you have to do is you have to take the ashes and you add it to the water. So now what it is you have to pour the canister that you left the ashes and you have to pour it into the water. So shaykas here means a trough where the animals eat from, but it just means the utensil that the water is in. So what the Gemara is saying is that you have to put the ashes into the water. So if it falls, then that's not good because you didn't do a maisa putting the ashes into the water. So what the Gemara says, if it falls from the canister into the shaykas, into the water, then it's possible because you didn't do a maisa. On Tommy base. Afilu hu kosher. I'm sorry, afilu hu. But if he puts it in through the canister, it's kosher. Now he took the canister and turned it over. He didn't take the ashes and put it in his hand and put it in. Why does that work? The Torah says take it and put it in. And you didn't do that. You did it through a utensil. We see from this that taking it through something else is a lakicha, meaning taking the ashes and pouring it in to the water, even though you're supposed to do it with your hand, but you did it through a utensil. That's enough. Yeah, so therefore that's how we prove that it can be. You can hold on to lulav and esrog, and you can hold on to the ashes through a kli. A person should not first tie together hadasim and arabas, and then put the lulav through it, because then what's going to happen is the dilma nasri tarfi b'habi chatzitza. What's going to happen is when you put the lulav down through, then it's going to rip off some branches. Those branches are going to be a chatzitza between the lulav and the hadasim and arabas, and then it's a chatzitza, so it's going to be no good. Yeah, V'amar Rabba. Sorry, but Rabba, Amar min b'mina and a chatzitza. Rabba says one type with another type is no chatzitza. Okay, V'amar, yeah. V'amar Rabba, a person should not cut down the lulav b'dashana, the mishtayri hutza, because what's going to happen is there's going to be a little bit of lulav left in the when you make this entire concoction, this bundle, right? Meaning, he's saying don't cut off the bottom of the lulav after it's already tied up with the shanas. Why? Because what's going to happen is there's going to be a little bit of few leaves from the lulav tied up, stuck in there, sort of the same thing as before. It's chatzitza. Rabba Amar min b'mina and chatzitza. Rabba says min b'mina is not chatzitza. Fine. Ba'amar Rabba hadas shel mitzvah aser. Hadas of a mitzvah is aser. Aser l'riyach bay. Here's another interesting din here. That again, hadas shel mitzvah aser l'riyach bay. The hadas of a mitzvah is aser to smell it. Esrog shel mitzvah mutar l'riyach bay. Everybody forgets about this on Sukkos. They're trying to busy. Can I smell my esrog? Can I not smell my esrog? Right. So the Gemara is saying that the hadasim you're not allowed to smell it. Why? Because hadasim are meant to. The main use of hadasim is for good smell. So therefore it's muksa. Right? So you're only allowed to use it for the mitzvah and nothing else. So therefore you're not allowed to smell it. Right? But esrog shel mitzvah mutar l'riyach, but esrog is mutar l'riyach by my time, a hadas l'reicha koi. So hadas, that's for reyach, ki akse, reicha akse. So when is it muksa? It's muksa from its normal use, which is from reyach. Esrog de l'achila koi, but esrog that's for food, ki akse ma'achila akse. When you're cutting it, when you're making muksa, not cutting it, it's you're making it muksa from achila, but from smelling is okay. Right? And again, it's only muksa to use for what its defined use is. An esrog is not defined for smelling, so therefore it's okay. Right? Now there's a big issue that if you do smell the esrog on Sukkos, do you make a bracha? Right? Do you make a bracha of the smelling? But that's a different. We don't have time for that right now. Then we get to the next thing. B'amar Rabba hadas b'mechuber. Hadas, when it's attached to the ground, mutar l'riyach bay. Right? There's an issur of smelling flowers on Shabbos that are attached to the ground because you might actually take them and you might actually cut them down. Yeah. So hadas b'mechuber mutar l'riyach bay. Hadasim you are allowed to smell. Esrog b'mechuber also l'riyach bay. Now it switches. And esrog is aser and hadas is mutar. My timer. What's the reason? Hadas l'riyach kai. Hadas that's meant for smell. If you're going to allow him to smell it, so he's not going to come and cut it down. Because why? Why should he cut it down? He's using it for the smell. But esrog de l'achila kai. But esrog, which is meant to be eaten. If you're going to allow him to smell it, then he might cut it off, right? Because he's going to say, "Oh, I smelled it." Then he's going to want to eat it, yeah. Which Rashi says, okay, but maybe he'll just bite off from the piece of esrog while it's still attached together. Rashi says, "Kol shekain," that's also, right? So then it switches. So the hadas is mutar to smell on Shabbos. The esrog is also to smell on Shabbos. Lulav the yamin, the esrog is small. So you take the lulav in the right hand, the esrog in the left hand. My timer, hani plus a mitzvah, because the lulav has three mitzvahs. Lulav, hadas, and arabas. But hi, chada mitzvah, and the esrog only has one. So the right hand, we always do things in the right hand. So therefore, the three mitzvahs should go in the right hand. What happens if you're a lefty? Right? So we must have some lefties. Rabban, you're a lefty, no? Right? Yeah. So what does a lefty do? So, right. So it's debatable. Right. So it's right. So So that's the most of the time you should hold in the left hand, but there are shittas that hold for this. It's not a din in the stronger hand; it's a din in the right hand. So they say you should at least at some point, then when you're holding the hadasim, when you're holding the whole thing, that you should switch hands just to make sure to be yotza, at least according to the other mitzvah, the other shitas. Fine. Normally, my time, how can we only say netilas lulav? What's with the rest? So the Gemara answers, since the Lulav is obviously the highest, the hadas, meramas, and the esrog, so therefore you only make the bracha on the Lulav. So the Gemara says, so why don't you just lift up the esrog? The esrog is pretty flexible, right? Lift it up and make the bracha that way. He said, no, the Lulav, when it grows, is higher than the rest of them. So since it's higher than the rest of them, so therefore it has nothing to do with being high when we hold it in our hand. It's that it grows at a higher, since it grows higher, so then we make the bracha on that. We say bracha on netilas lulav, and that's it. Okay, so let's just see the Mishna. Where do we shake? So b'haidul Hashem tchila b'saif, by haidul Hashem at the beginning and at the end, meaning the beginning where haidu starts and at the end of that parak. U'ba'ana Hashem mashiachna divrei Beis Hillel. Shamai af ba'ana Hashem matzlichana, even ba'ana Hashem matzlichana. Amar Akiva tzaifa yisi b'Rama Gamliel Rabbi Shua. I looked at Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Shua shekolam hayumanan nesluvein, the whole Sibur was shaking the Lulav. They only shook it by Hashem Mashiach. Now it's cryptic of what exactly this Mishna is saying. What's this whole thing here? So what it is basically is that they were in a place that everyone was doing like Beis Shamai, and they went against everybody, and they did like Beis Hillel to show everybody that they're doing incorrect by doing it like Beis Shamai. So that's what went on behind the scenes with this story. So Zog the Gemara, whoever said you're supposed to shake the little wrestling? What? Yeah. So now the Gemara says, who said anything about shaking the lulav? Where do you know that you're supposed to shake the lulav? So awesome Kai, the Gemara says it's going on the mission that we had a couple of Mishnayos ago, that called lulav sheyesh b'shlosh tefachim k'dei l'nanea by kasha. Any lulav that has 3 tefachim, in order to shake it, is kasha. Therefore, we're saying, where is it that we shake? So the previous Mishnah, or the Mishnah before that, we saw that there is such a concept of shaking. So now the Gemara is asking, where do you shake? Okay, we'll stop here. I'm sorry for all the disturbances. Thank you for your patience, and a good Shabbos, and a mazel tov. Shalom.